and other of our Rex Karmavir Global Fellows. We're going to move into our last talk for the day. We have with us the father of nutritional immunology. Just got to know about him when he first reached out to us around a month ago. And he's also one of our Rex Karmavir Global Fellows. And I'll tell you why we thought about the Rex Karmavir Global Fellows and how everybody from 7+, we've not kept a maximum age limit, fits into the Rex Karmavir Global Fellows. You've seen Yogesh, he's been doing brilliant work in business strategy and engagement, but his journey in the space of doing something, giving something back to the community and society had just started some time ago. And that's the reason he's a fellow and not a Karmavir Puraskar awardee. He'll probably reach there in another 2 or 3 years. So that's the journey. I'm going to call upon Dr. Ramesh Chandra, who's also been very supportive and said that he's going to support us and is making a donation of a lakh of rupees to support the Rex Karmavir Global Fellows and kind of give impetus to this movement. Dr. Chandra is going to speak about his favorite subject, which is nutritional immunology. Yeah. You want to speak from the podium? Yeah.
It's on? Oh, yes. Thank you. I also realize that at this time of the day, most of you are very tired and may not have the capacity to even absorb all the things that are being said. For this, I'm going to be very brief. And if at the end of it, you have questions which we cannot answer today, you're very welcome to contact me. And one of the ways that people can contact each other, and I'll do my best to deal with those questions. I want to talk a little bit about nutrition, health, and immunity. On the one hand, it's a very interesting and relatively new scientific subject. And in 1972, when I was working at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, we published a paper which was considered the first in this area. And over the next 25 years, we've done a lot of work with my colleagues. And for this reason, I'm very honored that 5 times our group has been nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine. On the other hand, the main theme of yesterday and today is very much focused on social responsibility. And I want to just emphasize a few points about that related to this topic. You may not realize that in 1947, when India became independent, 65% of school children were measured to have nutritional problems. And in 2012, the figure remains the same. That is, in 65 years, in spite of the knowledge and in spite of the resources, the economic resources, we have not achieved any dent in reducing the prevalence of nutritional deficiencies in our children. I want to also give you an example that this can be done, and quite easily, and without much money. And the 3 examples I will give you are one in Dharamsala, which is now the headquarters of Dalai Lama and almost 35,000 Tibetan children. And in association with some others, we have tried to give them nutritional supplements, which are only a few paisa a day. And the incidence of nutritional deficiencies in these Tibetan children has gone down to more than half. The second place is Tirupati in Andhra, where with the help of the Balaji temple, we have chosen 2 villages and used the same kind of strategy, just simple nutritional supplements. And once again, it has not only reduced the incidence of deficiencies, but it has increased their performance in school by about 12% of aggregate marks at the end of 1 year of supplementation. And the third example is that of several schools in Assam that we have worked with in association with the Vivekanand Society based in Kanyakumari, and once again, it has had an impact. In Delhi, the midday meal program costs a lot, and only 1 out of 6 children in Delhi eat their midday meal. You can imagine that for 45 years this has been happening, and an alternative which is simple, effective, and very cheap has not been implemented. One after another set of bureaucrats and politicians have looked at it. They have consulted economists and nutritionists, but they have not done the implementation. A relative contrast is the proposal, a similar proposal we sent to President Obama about 2.5 years ago, and he gathered 12 scientists and 2 economists, and basically they approved the proposal, but in the unfortunate thing that the country, the US, was involved in a lot of conflicts and wars, and they have not been able to implement it. The economists estimated that it will cost $170 million a year for the government. On the other hand, it will save $2 billion. What I'm telling you is all published. And now that the president has been re-elected, within weeks, they are taking up this proposal again, and hopefully it will be implemented. I want to just end by giving you 2 sentences, and that is that diet and nutritional supplements are the cause and the cure of many diseases. And this applies to all age groups, from very young infants and school children to senior citizens above 50 or 60 years of age. And it's not the lack of knowledge. We have the knowledge. And it's not lack of funds. India has the money too. It's only a question of implementation. And one can start on a very small scale, in a few schools, in a few villages, and go on to then build on a more larger provincial or even national implementation. The last thing I want to mention is that a part of this is also and other related health issues that we were able to look into as a feature film called Ek Noor. I wrote the story, and last year it was shown in theaters all over India and abroad. And this year on 28th February, the president of the censor board, Sharmila Tagore, gave it the Best Movie Award, not only for the overall movie, but also for many other aspects which relate to health. And she was able to convince the federal or central government to abolish the entertainment tax on this particular movie. So in the end, I want to just say once again that nutrition is a very important aspect of life and health. In India, we have the resources, we have the knowledge, and it is the lack of implementation which has not done anything since 1947, but within months and years, it can change. And I'm sure that many of you may also get involved in this on a small scale or on a much larger scale. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandra. So we may have questions for Dr. Chandra, please. Yes, let's go with the gentleman behind, please, Bosco. Mr. Bangia, let's give a chance to some people who have not asked questions. Yes, sure. We'll come to you.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Karunakar Reddy. I am from Andhra Pradesh. The work which you are doing is very, very important. And my the practical experience because I came from a very rural area. I'm doing a water treatment activity and I'm providing, we are adopted more than 2,000 villages in a rural area and where we are providing safe drinking water almost zero cost, yani 20 paisa per liter is a clean water. And every school, every village, we are adopting the government school where the school doesn't have a water at all. It is forget about the clean or not clean water. So if possible, if it is affordable, what we are doing, we don't mind to adopt this also in all the 2,000 villages in 2,000 schools. I want to know the cost, how much it is going to be per children per day.
Thank you. I think you're mentioning another aspect of prevention of disease, that is providing clean water and perhaps at some aspects even clean food, because infection is the one important type of disease which causes a lot of morbidity and even mortality. Yeah. So in addition to what you are saying and doing, I think if you also looked at additional nutritional supplements, which are very cheap, yeah. They're only a few paisa a day, and it has also been done in 2 villages in Andhra, yeah. Where I have mentioned the summary of the results we got, by a large increase in the performance of these students in high school, 12 to 15% increase in aggregate marks. So I think there are many aspects of health prevention, including the clean water that you mentioned, which are important, which have very little cost effectiveness and certainly should be implemented.
One more thing, sir. We already started these hygiene practices like hand washing, nail cutting, toothbrush. So we are more creating a lot of hygiene awareness. And we've seen that even the corporate companies like HLL or PNG, they got increased the sales of their products like soaps and toothpaste or something like that. So we approached them, they given initially around 60 to 70% the discount on the price for only selective areas where we want to do the study. So the rate of the dropouts from the school is almost reduced by 90-95% comparatively last 2-3 years before. So that's what I'm very much happy. If is there any opportunity for us, at least we are adding every year more than 1,000 villages and 1,000 communities, and where we are going to help only the people going in the government schools, because people who go to government schools are below poverty or below middle class people, that we want to help them in a right way.
Yeah, I certainly support this kind of activity, and as I said before, there are other measures which will also improve health.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Professor Bangia.
I am thankful to you, Dr. Chandra. I want to inform that this nutrition program started on 2nd of October 1974, and a copy of it, when it came to NIPSID, I worked with NIPSID, so this started with that from 25 blocks. This is just for information. My question is that recently there was a news in the paper that there is too much malnutrition still persistent in the children. So the minister, instead of curbing the corruption and the pilferage, announced 1,000 crore more for this project. Do you think, is it right, or to see that the corruption should have been curbed? Thank you.
I think a lot of the alternative proposals for nutritional supplements for children in particular, pregnant women as another group that needs attention, I think at a much cheaper price, this can be achieved. One has to keep in mind that it is not just the cost, but also the way it is implemented. We see this in many countries, and India is another example where it can be done at a much smaller price and a much more effective result. Can you speak up?
Yes, I think Professor Bange, you can take this offline. We can have another question.
Whatever is available locally, so that cheapest things are procured for giving to the children. Whereas, 900 crore is Ponti is getting from UP only. So my question is, how to curb all these tendencies of
Yes,
corruption?
Professor Bange, that's a governance issue. I don't think the good doctor will be able to address that.
Yeah.
We have to address that with people like Ponti Chadda, who's no more, unfortunately, or maybe with Mayawati. Yes, another question? Yes, Dr. Amit Saini. Please take the microphone.
So it's a very good project that you are doing on this nutrients and all. I just wanted to ask that if the government is not sincere about the cause for your project, has the World Bank not come in and stepped in? Or have you not
I'm
asked?
sorry, who has stepped in?
World Bank.
No, World Bank
World Health
doesn't give,
Organization?
sorry. World Bank usually gives lump sum amounts to countries.
Yes, sir.
What they do with it is up to the government and the country.
Oh.
Now, you take the example of another small country, Costa Rica in South America. They get also from World Bank, and within a period of less than 10 years, they have eliminated most of the nutrition and health problems in that country. So I think it can be done, but what you use the World Bank grant for varies a lot from one country to another.
What governance that means.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We shall conclude with that. Thank you so much. You may take more questions offline, Dr. Chandra. Thank you for being with us, and we'll call you later for the Rex Karmovil Global Fellowship, which shall be conferred upon you. So that was Dr. Ramesh Chandra, which brings us to the conclusion of all our rockstar speeches.